Hey, all my movie maniacs, you're looking for some good independent horror this October? Then come to Oshkosh, Wisconsin, October 8th and 9th for the Northeast Wisconsin Horror Film Festival. There'll be some great independent horror showing there, and you may even have a movie man sighting if you're lucky. Find out more information at www.newhorrorfest.com. That's www.newhorrorfest.com. Now on with the show. Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. Glad you could attend. I warned you. I've got a few more short films to review this week. And today we're going to talk about Here Lies Joe. Now, Here Lies Joe deals with the subject of suicide. It's written and directed by Mark Battle. And we get the story of Joe, who is contemplating suicide. And he goes to a suicide, addicts, if you will, a support group, people who have tried a number of times, either, a lot of suicidal thoughts, or even have attempted suicide a couple of times. And so he's at the support group, and, he's not sure if he really wants to be there. And suddenly he meets Z, another member of the group, and she turns things upside down, gives him a different perspective of things. But is it enough to change his mind on what he wants to do? And we see how that all plays out in Here Lies Joe. Now, Here Lies Joe, I really... It's comedy, but it's also rather somber and the touchy subject of suicide. I mean, suicide is a very serious thing, but here it's bringing, I think, an interesting story to bring this subject to light and cause some conversation about it. And I like that. I like when film does that, when it brings up topics, especially uncomfortable topics, to discuss. And so here Mark Battle really gives us this kind of film that starts out a little somber until we meet Z. Z's played by Andy Morrow. And man, she just adds this different energy that seems like, you just don't understand why she's in a group like this, given her personality in that. And Joe, who's played fantastically by Dean Temple, is kind of the polar opposite as far as energy and enthusiasm goes. And I love the dynamic between these two as they get to know each other a little bit and talk about each other, their thoughts of suicide. And really, I enjoyed how it played out. Now, they also use this interesting color palette that's kind of somber colors. Nothing really pops as far as colors go, and I think that's because it's trying to give you kind of the perspective from Joe of how he kind of sees the world as drab and everything. But I will say I did enjoy how it ended as well. Might be a little cliche for how it ended, but I enjoyed that quite a bit, and I think you will too. Here Lies Joe is just really well-constructed story, makes you wonder exactly where it's going to go, and has a couple interesting characters that makes you want to see how things are actually going to turn out. And so, not every film has to have such a creative twist, but especially short films, but they don't need that in order to be good. And Here Lies Joe is a good short film that I think you should check out. Again, another one that's, I believe, hitting the festival circuit. I'll put information down below about Here Lies Joe. If you've seen Here Lies Joe at a festival, please let me know your thoughts on this. I thought it was an interesting short, especially on the touchy subject of suicide. And it's worth your time. So please hit subscribe if you haven't already. I appreciate every single one of you. We got great stuff coming up. We got the new horror film festival coming up in about 2 weeks, which I'm going to be covering. So much more. I appreciate every single one of you as always. And remember, keep that ticket stub.